What is going on, Raiders? Soda Dragon here. Welcome and hope you guys are doing well. Now, I know it's been a long time since I last posted, so I'm going to explain to you what happened, and then we're going to get to our topic of the day, which is CVC right after that. So a few weeks ago, I was feeling a little under the weather. I was kind of coughing a little bit, had headaches, a little bit chills. So I was wondering what was happening, but you know what? I did take a COVID test, an at-home COVID test, and it told me that I was not positive for COVID. So I just thought it was the common cold. So that's when I posted a message to you guys on the community tab just to let you guys know what was going on. I thought it would be over that cold in maybe 3 or 4 days. And by the way, guys, if you ever notice I'm gone for an extended period of time, then make sure to check the community tab, and probably there I post a reason why and when you can expect me back. So anyways, back to my story. So 2 days after my first COVID test at home that said I did not have COVID, me and my wife decided to take a test together because she was feeling sick too. So 2 days after, yes, I took another COVID test, and you know what? I got COVID. So what have I been doing for the last few weeks? Recovering from COVID. I took another COVID test a few days ago, and you know what? It said I still had COVID. So I'm still quarantining as of now. But at least that brain fuzziness has gone away enough for me to start posting again for you guys. So what else has been going on with me and my account lately? Well, first I did fuse for Helicath, but you won't believe who I pulled for the guaranteed summon for Candraphon. Check it out, guys. Yes, the same day that I fused Helicath, I pulled another one. So now I got 2. We'll see if in the future I can come up with any funny double Helicath comps, but probably won't be that useful to you guys because most of you guys will not have 2 of him. Another thing I'm doing is I'm doing a lot more empowering of my champions. Now, this is more of a practical move because a lot of times I'm running out of space. I got so many different dupes and I don't know what to do with them. So yeah, eventually I just have to crunch them together to save space. But remember, guys, when you see those empowered champions in my videos, don't be intimidated. Remember, my gear is not that great. So if I have an empowered champion with okay gear, a lot of times you can reach the same stats with a baseline champion if you have really good gear. So that's the thing. If you're mid to end game, I think a lot of the things we're going to do, even with the power champs, you can still reach as far as stats. And some plans I have for later this year are firstly to make a Discord server, and secondly to stream somewhere either on YouTube or on Twitch. Now in the beginning, yeah, both of them are going to be kind of jacked up, so don't come in with like high expectations. But yes, I will get better as I go along, so those are some things you can expect. And as far as Diablo Immortal, I haven't touched it yet, and I don't have any plans to. Alright guys, let's get into the topic of today, which is CVC tips. Now before we get into depth as far as CVC tips, I want to talk about a bigger meta issue, which is the issue of whether or not you should go for CVC events or you should go for fusions. So why is this an issue? Because both events, that is fusions and CVC events, basically use the same resources. So in particular, if you're free to play, it can be really hard to push for CVC events while at the same time saving enough resources for those fusions. So if you feel like your resources are being stretched thin, I would say prioritize fusions. Those will definitely progress your account a lot more than the rewards you get from CVCs, which are reaction accessories and blood shield accessories. Though those are okay, they're not going to change your account as much as fusing, let's say, a Helicath or a Brogni. And if you're in a clan that prioritizes CVC a little bit too heavily, I would say look for another clan. Because when they do that, when they drain your resources for those few accessories that you get for those CVC wins, I mean, it really doesn't help you out. In fact, it's hurting your account. So definitely don't be in a clan that is going to hurt your game progress. But let's say you're all in for CVC. What are the best ways to get a ton of points? First up, guys, you got the Get Champions objective. Now here, the higher ranked champion you acquire, the more points you get. Notice here that getting a legendary champion gets you 10,000 points. That is 10 times more than getting an epic champion. Now the first way to get champions, so to speak, is to pull shards. Now it's not necessarily a bad thing to pull shards for a 10x, usually associated with the CVC, if that's a champion that you really want and you're close to Mercy. A lot of times the 10x champions they put alongside those CVCs are really good, like they're really tantalizing. That's why it's all the more important that you count your Mercy. So you know if you're close, you know if it's worth pulling for that champion you always wanted. If you're not close to Mercy though, I would say save your shards, do not pull for that 10x. Another way to get champions is to fuse them. So if you haven't fused, for example, Rosin yet, you can fuse them. And for Relic Keeper and Broadmaw, they are always fusible. So that is a way to get more points. You can keep on fusing these champs over and over. And a third way would be through the fragment summons. So if you've saved up enough fragments, yes, you can pull them for that CVC to get you big points. All right, guys, next up, let's look at the objective get champions for the first time. Now, can you pull shards to get new champions for the first time? Yes, you can, but it's not really up to you. The only way you can assure that this will be the case is if you don't pull any shards firstly, and you save up some fusions or you save up some fragments. That's it. Because if you pull shards, you might accidentally pull the champ that you were saving as that new champ for your CVC. I've known multiple people who are saving their Gaius fragments for the CVC for particularly this objective, get new champions, that is get champions for the first time. But unfortunately, they pulled some shards before the CVC, and what did they get? Gaius. Therefore, they would not get the get new champion bonus for Gaius when they pulled them. So if you're saving your new fragment champions for CVC, don't pull any shards before that, all right? Or else you won't get that huge, 20,000 point bonus for a legendary. Don't do it, it's not worth it. Now, fusions count for this too. So for example, if you haven't summoned Rosin yet, you can save summoning him for CVC and get that 20,000 point bonus for summoning a brand new legendary on that account. Or you can go with the old-fashioned shard method, but you know what? It's up to chance at that point. Maybe you get a new legendary, maybe you get a dupe, or maybe you get no legendary. Next up, guys, got the objective upgrade champions. So here you see the higher ranked champion you level up, the more points you get. Now, if you level up a rank 6 champion from level 1 to level 60, that's going to give you 2,400 total points. But leveling up one champion from like 1 to 60 is actually not the best way to get the most points in this objective. What you want to do is, yes, focus on high ranked champions, but you want to focus on the early levels of high ranked champions, not the later levels. Why is this? Because the higher up you go, the more closer you go to the maximum level of a champion, the more EXP it takes, versus the early levels of a champion is very EXP efficient. A little EXP goes a long way in getting those early levels. Whereas when we're talking about the later levels of a champion, maybe closer to their max, maybe 60 or something like that, it takes a lot of EXP and you might not even get one level out of it. Let me give you an example here. Let's start with Gerda here. So how much will one beer get her as far as levels for her early levels? No, she's only level 1. So yes, all of her levels are going to be early levels. So what does one beer get her? So let's take one beer. Look, it's only one beer. Look at the AXP, right? 18,750. And how much levels does that get her? She's already level 9 with one beer. Now let's compare this with higher level champions. So we'll take Gerda out and let's put in Venus here. So how much will one beer get her? Notice every beer is the same EXP. 18,750. How much does one beer get her? How many levels? It looks like none. Okay. 2 beers. Nope. 3 beers. 4 beers. 5 beers. All right. It took 5 beers to get her 1 level up. Whereas for Gerda, 1 beer took her 9 levels up. So guys, to get the most points here, once again, focus on your higher ranked champions with low levels. Venus would be a terrible choice to level up for CVC to get these points. But look, I have a lot of, for example, 5-star champions here that are level 1. They would be perfect. Just level them up to maybe level 10, level 15, whatever. Just get those early levels for these level 1 champions that are high rank. And these upper level ones you see, 51 here for Elegaeus, 51 for Venus, and 47 for Hellborn. Forget them. Terrible choices for CVC for your points. Next up, guys, got the Upgrade Champions Ranks objective. Now, the best way to do this would be to have previously leveled up champions that are maxed out, just waiting to be ranked up, saved on your account for this particular event. Remember, guys, like I talked about in the last point, it's actually EXP inefficient to fully level up a champion. Even if you plan to rank them up, still, you should have these champions saved up, these fully leveled champions. So fully level them another time. This is not the good time to do it, all right? But if you do have fully leveled up champions ready to be ranked up, saved up, then yes, this is the perfect time to do that, to rank them up. Next up, guys, we got the objective upgrade champion skills. So the first thing I'm going to say is if you don't have any legendary in mind that you're actually planning to use, or you know you're going to use, save your legendary books. They are far too important to just waste on a CVC, even though they're worth a lot of points. If you're not actually going to use that champion, it is an absolute waste to use your precious and hard to come by legendary books on that champion just for CVC points. Now, of course, if you're a whale, then I mean, whatever, you're going to spend how you're going to spend, right? But as far as epic and rare books, yes, you can be a little bit more liberal as far as who you plan to use your books on for CVCs if you really want the points. but I would say the same thing goes. Really, books period are hard to come by, and you don't want to be lacking in books when you really need them. Let's say for like a specific composition, you need this champ fully booked and you don't happen to have the books. That sucks, especially if you wasted all your books on champions that you will never touch. So really be careful with this one, guys. Now, along the same lines, I would say never use a legendary champion as a book. Never. That is my personal, firm, unyielding opinion. Never, ever, ever use a legendary champion as a book for another legendary champion. Now, if you want to use that for rares and for epics, it's up to you. But as far as legendaries, I would never advocate you use any of them as books. Next up, guys, got the Ascend Champions objective. So here, guys, the tier or the quality of the champion matters. So if you have a 6-star legendary champion and you ascend them, you get more points than ascending a 6-star epic champion. Even though they're both 6 stars, still you get more points for ascending the 6-star legendary champion. So if you fully ascend a 6-star legendary champion, you can get yourself 4,400 points. Now, unlike upgrading champion skills, you can actually farm potions. What does that mean? It means you don't have to be as strict on who you plan to ascend. But at the same time, I would say be careful who you ascend. You don't want to waste ascension potions on champions you'll never use. So once again, try to focus on champions who you actually think you might use in the future, or champions you actually are using and you need them to be stronger. And guys, make sure every now and then you check your potion mixer to see what potions you're low on so you know what to farm. So for example, here I'm pretty low on magic and force potions. Now this is good to know outside of a CVC because remember, those keeps aren't always open. So you want to know what you need to farm so you can farm it freely when it is open. Now, yes, you can open it for gems, those different keeps if you really need it, but obviously you don't really want to do that most of the time unless you're like a ridiculous whale. So definitely check on which potions that you need, especially outside of CVC, so you know when to farm those particular keeps. Next up, guys, I got the objective upgrade Great Hall bonuses. So really you want to do this in CVC because you get something extra from it, get a little extra bump from it. If you do it anytime outside of CVC, that is upgrade these bonuses, you don't get anything for it, period. So it's best just to save these, whether or not you take CVC seriously. Just period. Just do it in CVC because this is the only time you get any extra bonus for upgrading your Great Hall. Next up, guys, we got campaign objectives. So here's the thing. Doing Brutal or Nightmare, it's actually equivalent. Why? Because on Nightmare, you get double the points, but it costs double the energy. So it's going to be equivalent. The points per energy spent is exactly the same. So whether you can do Brutal really consistently or Nightmare consistently, do either one. It's up to you. But the points per energy spent are exactly the same. So one thing I will say, though, that tips things in the favor of Nightmare campaign, if you can reliably farm it, is that it's better on your multi-battles. You use less multi-battles because you're leveling up champions faster. So once again, if you can do Nightmare campaign, that is, you can farm it reliably, then use Nightmare campaign versus Brutal because you get the same amount of points versus Brutal, but you save on the multi-battles. So if you can do Nightmare, do Nightmare. Next up, guys, we got Potion Keep objectives. So what are the best stages to farm for the most points per energy spent? So it's actually going to be stages 16 through 19. It's not going to be stage 20. Why? Because it costs more energy. And remember, we're talking about points per energy spent. How can we get the most points versus every little bit of energy we spend? It's actually going to be 16 through 19. So you can think of any of those stages. Probably for most of you guys, 19 is going to be better than 20 as far as getting points for this particular objective. Next up, guys, got Minotaur objectives. So which stages of the Minotaur would be the best to get the most points per energy spent? And it's going to be stage 11. Yes, stage 11, not 15, not 14, not 13, not 12. Stage 11 is the best place to get the most points per energy spent. Now, it's not going to be where you get the most scrolls, but that's not what we're talking about. We're not talking about scrolls. We're talking about points for Minotaur objectives for CVC. That's what we're talking about. So you want to do stage 11s. Yes, you get less scrolls from it, but you get more points from it. Next up, guys, got our dungeons here. So we have Ice Golem's Peak, Spider's Den, Dragon's Lair, and Fire's Night. So these are easy. You get the most points per energy spent on all of these for stage 25s. Yes, stage 25s. So next up, guys, I've listed the top 12 points per energy spent objectives. Now, these compare things that you use energy on. These, so we're comparing apples to apples. We're not comparing apples to oranges like Ice Golem's Peak or ranking up your champions. That's apples to oranges. That's completely different. We're talking about things where you have to spend energy. So what is the best use of energy here? So as you guys can see, the top points per energy objectives are going to be either Ice Golem, Fire Knight, or Spider's Den stage 25s. But guys, notice I did not say Dragon's Lair. Why is that? Because they give you less points for Dragon's Lair. Half the points. So you're really missing out on a ton of points if you farm a lot of Dragon's Lair during a CVC event. So forget Dragon's Lair for CVCs, okay? Do it outside of CVC. For a CVC, focus on Spider's Den, Ice Golem, or Fire Knight. So as far as Faction Wars objectives, you're gonna get more points from farming stage 21s than stage 20s. Now, as far as the rewards you get from the faction itself, stage 20 and 21 are the same. So outside of CVCs, you want to farm stage 20s of your faction wars. But once you get into a CVC, start to farm that stage 21 if you can. So as far as classic arena objectives, the gold medals are going to get you more points than the silver or the bronze medals. But as far as tag team arena, all you're getting is gold bars. So as far as tag team arena goes, all that matters is the quantity that you get. There is no difference in quality with tag team arena, only with classic arena. So as far as the Demon Lord objectives go, the higher level chest you get, the more points you get. It's as simple as that. I will be sharing a trick to get more points for this objective in a future video though. So as far as upgrading artifacts and accessories, you do get a ton of points for your max levels. That is your level 16s for your gear. So save up your level 15 gear. Don't level it up all the way yet and save that up for CVCs because you get a ton of points for those level 16s. Next up guys, got the use glyphs objective. So here, the higher rank glyphs you use, the more points you're gonna get. So one efficiency trick that I like to use with my high rank glyphs is to use them to glyph stats that have been untouched. So stats that have not been upgraded. So notice here for this HP percentage stat, it has not been upgraded. Therefore, this would be a perfect candidate for me personally to use a high rank glyph on, because when I use this, it's going to give me a big upgrade and it's not going to fail because this has not been upgraded yet. Let's see what we get, right? 5%. Look at that. Huge, absolutely huge. Now the thing is, if I use a high rank glyph on a stat that has already been upgraded, even a little bit, it has a much higher chance to fail. That's why I really don't like to waste these high rank glyphs on stats that have already been upgraded. So for here, this flat HP stat is probably going to fail because this has already been upgraded previously. So let's see. Yep, it failed. So that's my little trick on glyph efficiency. Use those high rank glyphs on unupgraded stats to get the biggest boost, plus it will never fail. Versus using these high rank glyphs on stats that have already been upgraded previously, where you have a high chance to fail. Next up guys, got our forge objectives. So the higher rank and rarity of the items that you forge, the more points you're going to get. Remember guys, as far as forging items go and reselling them, that is one of the best ways to get money in this game, to get silver. Yes, it costs money to forge, but if you're selling the majority of your items, then you're going to get more money back than what you had to put into it to forge in the first place. So once again, the forge is one of the best places to make silver. And lastly guys, you can use gems to earn CVC points. You get 1 point per gem spent. Probably not the best way to get your CVC points. All right guys, that is it for my CVC guide. Make sure to let me know in the comments if there are any tips or tricks that I missed. I'll probably put this guide out semi-regularly because I'm sure a lot of you guys will have really cool tips and tricks I never thought of in the comments, so I'll keep this updated. Thanks for watching, and if you guys haven't yet, like, subscribe, and share. Turn on all notifications. Stay safe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.